Heyo, I'm Colby from Sanitarium Productions. We're back again with another action figure review. Okay, technically this is not an action figure, so we're not back with an action figure review. We're back with an action figure accessory review. In today's episode, we're taking a look at these Valuelock Storage Capsules. These came from NECA, I guess. Is that right? Anyway, I found these in Target the other day. They are made by NECA. These are made for 7-inch sized figures. They are essentially a storage capsule for action figures, which is why they're called storage capsule. I don't know. I'm losing it today. But anyways, this was pretty interesting, so I thought I would pick one up and see how well it worked. I don't know if we need to go over the actual packaging or not. Here it does come kind of shrink wrapped individually. It's got some branding stuff in there. It says it's for 7-inch figures, made by NECA. Protect, preserve, display for use with 7-inch sized figures. We got a little picture of a silhouette in there, which is kind of cool. Kind of shows you what you might can do. Yeah, that's pretty much the what it looks like. Let's go ahead and get into this thing. I actually saw this on the store shelves at Target. These run about, what were they, $10 thereabouts, which is a little bit high, I think, but I don't know. It depends on how well these things work as to whether or not they're going to be any good. So there's the plastic off of it. The base is very loose. It just came off right there. So that's a little worrisome. But it does have a foot peg there at the bottom. But let's kind of pull out the package thing here and see. It's made of a nice kind of acrylic. The rest of the package doesn't really say anything. So nice silhouette, but that's about it. Yeah, so we're going to toss that to the side. And that's pretty much it. So it's a clear plastic case thing, but it's not like latchable. It just sits on here, which I guess isn't too bad, but I really was hoping that would like screw on and lock. So NECA, if you're out there and listening, we need this to lock. I need this to lock. I don't know, other people feel free to chime in on the comment section, but having that as just a slip off thing is a recipe for disaster in my opinion, but maybe that's not. But anyways, it's got a cool acrylic thing. It's not too thick. It's probably going to break if you drop it, but if you're looking for something to keep dust off your figures, I think this is right up your alley. It's kind of what I had in mind when I picked it up, so we'll see here. Now, the big question I had really is, what figures are going to fit in here and how well are they going to fit? Looking at it, it does look like it tapers in just a hair at the top, so it's not quite as wide at the top as it is at the bottom. But yeah, that's kind of all there is to it here. So what I figure I'm going to try to do now is to just put figures on here and see how well they hold up. So I got a random assortment here that I've got, so we're just going to kind of put them in here and see what they look like. So these are obviously made by NECA, so probably will fit NECA figures very easily. So I have a feeling the foot pegs are probably the sized for NECA figures. But if you're like me, I don't really have that many NECA figures, so I've got lots of other figures. We have WWE Divas figure to start with. Foot peg fits and seems to hold, so that's good. Case fits on there like so. Looks pretty decent. So it works with WWE Divas figures. We have a good bit left at the top, so yeah. And I probably should move the camera, I suppose. Let me try this here. Y'all are probably wanting to know more about how they look standing up, so let me reposition this camera here. Give me a moment while we do that. Alright, this is going to be weird for just a moment while we get things kind of situated. And you can see a couple of the figures we have sitting there. Let's put this thing back on there. Okay, so there is the case thing. Let's go back out a little bit. That looks pretty decent. I'm going to move this light in here. So bear with me while we figure all this stuff out. So there is the case. I'm going to move this up out of the shot, hopefully. Yeah, that's not bad. So let's try this again. We'll put Paige back in here. Put Paige in the cage. Alright, so there is Paige. And we put that back on there. So that's not bad looking. You got a little bit of extra room here, there, and abouts. And I'm sure my camera is not level. So if anything looks like it's leaning, it's because of the camera, not the actual case thing. But there is WWE Divas figure. So that works. Take that out. Pull that figure off. Toss that over there. Masters of the Universe. Why not? Let's see here. See if I can find the foot peg. Foot peg fits. Looks pretty good. So with some of these figures, like this one particularly, you may have to move things around to get the sword, the accessories to fit. But there is Masters of the Universe. The Masters of the Universe Origins line. That works pretty well. That actually looks pretty good there. There's a lot of extra room at the top for those, unfortunately. Because those are 5 1/4, not 7 inches. So, but there you go. We've got it there. So, that's cool. I'm okay with that. Pull that off. Move that out. Let's grab WWE Legends series. This is Big Van Vader. One of the larger figures. So let's see. Okay, he fits on the foot peg. And then the case just barely fits around his arms. We could probably pose him a little bit more to actually get him to fit, but that's not bad there, to be honest with you. That actually works really well for that figure. And that's one of the larger figures, so I was a little worried about that one, but that is cool. Very nice. So if that's the case, then they're going to probably work for most other figures. Pop that off. One thing I do have here is actually 7-inch scale figure. This is from the Warhammer line. So let's see here. Foot peg is much too small for this guy, and his weapon is much too large to go outside of that. But if we take the weapon out of his hand, try this again. So for the McFarlane Warhammer series figure, the Necron Warrior, it works fine, at least without the weapon in his hands. So you'd have to put the weapon probably on his back or something like that, or try to figure out a way to pose him with his weapon slung over his shoulder or something like that. But I mean, it's not bad, so I'm actually pretty impressed so far. Let's take a look at just a couple of more figures here as we knock things over. Masters of the Universe Classics is one that I have that I really would like a way to display. Foot peg is a little bit too small, but at least it fits. This is Zodak, by the way. And case fits over top of it. Looks pretty decent, actually. So that would be a good solution for Masters of the Universe Classics figures. I'm trying to think what other kinds of figures are different proportions to that I have quick access to. DC Universe Classics. Here is Artemis. The foot peg is too small for her, but the case fits in here nicely, so that will work fine for her. And she's one of the taller figures in that line too, so still plenty of clearance there. I don't think there's going to be any issue with G.I. Joe Classified or anything like that. Marvel Legends should fit, although the larger figures won't. Here's Scarlet from G.I. Joe Classified. Foot peg is just a shade too small, but still works. Well, you can see it doesn't really work. The foot peg is too small, but the case works. You can always put a different foot base in there, and that should cover things like this from having bad problems. Here we go. A large figure is the Superman. What the devil was this one? The mech armor Superman from McFarlane. So let's just try this. I know the foot peg's not going to work. Foot peg does not work. But if we do that real quick, it's fine. So that one fits in there. I'm actually surprised by that. I wasn't expecting that one to fit, but it just barely fits in there. And that's one of the bigger McFarlane DC superhero line. He probably won't fit in there with his wings, which are not attached right now, but it is what it is. I think it'll fit for pretty much any other of the DC line. Definitely the classics seem to work. Oh, here we go. We've got Darkwing Duck from the Funko line. Foot peg actually fits just fine. You will probably have to shift him around a little bit to get him to kind of center fit. But that actually works pretty well for the Disney afternoon figures. There is way too much room above him for that. So, if you had a situation like that, you could probably print out a little backdrop and stick in there. But it does work. These figures are notoriously hard to figure out some of those options for. And let's see, the last. So, Star Wars figures are about the same size as the G.I. Joe, so I'm not worried about those. Here is one of the Dragon Ball Z figures. He does not have a foot peg, so foot peg thing is irrelevant. His cape gets squished in there, but he fits, so I am actually fairly impressed with that thing. This thing works a lot better than I was expecting. At the same time, it does have some drawbacks. It's not going to fit the larger sized figures. So like the with the McFarlane Warhammer series, the Necron Warrior would fit. Probably the Blood Sisters would fit. But the Space Marines will not fit whatsoever. They are way too thick. The Marvel Legends figures should fit just fine. For the standard figures, the deluxe figures are not going to work. So I'm thinking, Apocalypse won't work, but, Maverick will and Sunspot will. Strong Guy won't. I'm just looking at my shelf right here that's next in the wave of needing to be looked at is that Strong Guy Build-A-Figure set. So, yeah. But I'm glad that, some of these figures do fit pretty well. The Masters of the Universe Classics, I'm really excited about. The WWE Legends figures, like the Big Van Vader, very glad he fits. I've got one more to look at here, just to see. That is the Masters of the Universe 2000 and X series. This is the Skeletor Spin Blade. The foot pad actually works for this guy, so that is cool. And this fits over top of that very easily, so that figure series will work just fine. I have a feeling that some of the larger figures like Ram Man probably won't fit. Whiplash probably won't fit too bad. Won't fit, but standard size figures, I think you'll have no problem with them. And they actually look pretty cool. Again, they've got a little excess at the top, but finding anything for, these 6-inch figures has been a pain in the butt. To get them to stand on a standalone shelf. So, yeah, there you go. That's the NECA figures capsule, whatever the devil we called it. I'm digging it out over here now. The Valuelock Storage Capsule. It's a bit expensive for $10 for what it is, but it's a nice solution for a few things. I definitely am not going to be picking up 40 of them to do like all of the Masters of the Universe classics. That's definitely not going to happen. Same thing with these 2000X figures that are in front of us right now. I'm not going to get enough to do all of them. But for, 3 or 4 kind of situation that you just want to put up, I'm specifically thinking about putting 1 or 2 up at my work office. And this would be a nice kind of way of doing that. Keeps you from having to dust them. And that's the big killer. And it keeps people from monkeying with them a little bit. Although, again, I'm a little disappointed that the actual base itself does not connect, lock in place. It's just a loose fit over top of it. So, it is what it is. But that's pretty much all the time we've got for today. So appreciate y'all watching this far if you have, or whatever you did watch, I appreciate it. Drop some comments down below. Let me know what you think of this. I keep forgetting the name of it. Valuelock Storage Capsule from NECA. What kinds of figures do you think that this might work for? Are there any particular series, lines, whatever that you would like to see if they fit before you try to go out and track some of these down? Let me know those in the comment section. I will see if I can do a follow-up video for this at some point. Yeah, I'll be glad to try out whatever I can if I have access to it or whatever. Just let me know. So, if you haven't already, feel free to subscribe to the channel. Be on the lookout for more awesome videos coming down the pipeline. Until next time. Okay, I'm back for one last update here. One of the lines that I wanted to look at was the G.I. Joe Sigma 6 series. So this is Zartan in that series stuck into this thing. So as you can see, it almost works. It's about a ½ inch, quarter inch too small, but it fits. So what I'm thinking is if you have these figures and you bend the knees a little bit, they may actually do okay. Again, the weapons, you're going to have to be a little bit, I don't know, creative about that. But they're not going to fit with them on their arms. And you can see the backpack there on Zartan. Maybe you can see. Can you see that? The backpack on Zartan here just barely doesn't work. But with a little shifting, that probably would work. You can see here he's kind of stuck in here. But if you shifted his legs a little bit, bend his knee just a bit, you could probably get it to work. And being a little bit creative with it, again, it's not going to be ideal, but I think it would work if you need something in a pinch. So I don't know, but there you go. There's just some of the ones that it will work for. Doesn't exactly work for these Sigma 6, but almost. So, you could be a little bit more careful with it and probably get it to work okay. It's so close. But there you go.